How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back to another week of CTV Sports. I'm Leah Cackowski.
And I'm Mike Walsh, and you may be wondering why we're wearing jerseys. Well, with Halloween 8 days away, we just thought we'd play our part to celebrate the holiday.
That's right, Mike. But in any case, here are your top stories for the week.
CSU Football hopes to carry some much-needed momentum from last week's thrilling win over Hawaii to Boise this upcoming Saturday.
CTV's own Ella Fredrickson guides us through the Timbers and Thorns for a look at CSU's very own logging team.
And Hot or Not returns for another week of contentious picks, this time in the worlds of football, baseball, and volleyball.
All of that and more right here on CTV Sports, which starts right now.
Always, we'll kick things off with CSU Football, who for the second time in the past 3 weeks has given Ram fans a big win, this time defeating the University of Hawaii in the final few minutes of regulation. The Rams looked solid throughout, matching Hawaii's energy right from kickoff. CSU came out swinging with this massive run from our workhorse running back, Avery Morrow, on the Rams' very first drive of the game. And much to Ram fans' pleasure, the team finally had QB1 Clay Millen back, and he wasted no time getting 4 air raid back up and running. However, the offensive production proved to be a one-man show as Morrow was able to sneak in both of the Rams' touchdowns, first scoring from near the goal line and then rubbling in the game-winning tally from 10 yards out with 88 seconds left on the clock. But the Rams' offense was not alone when it came to manufacturing highlights. The defense was electric too, specifically in the second half, allowing only 33 yards total in the final 2 quarters. The Rams D did get off to a slow start though, surrendering all of Hawaii's 13 points in the first 30 minutes of play. However, CSU defensive coordinator Freddie Banks knows how to get the best out of his group, and that's exactly what happened following the break. The Rams forced multiple 3-and-outs both in the air and on the ground, as well as a game-sealing interception from defensive back Aiden Hector, which led to the Rams' first victory formation of the season with the final knee from Millen. But following the win, Banks didn't need to speak for himself as both head coach Jay Norvell and Aiden Hector expressed their praises of him and the work he did Saturday afternoon.
He's just really detailed. I don't want to be a head coach yet now. We got a lot of games to win here, but no, he's just a really talented coach.
He demands perfection, and anything less than that, he'll get on it. And I wouldn't have it any other way because I'm trying to be the best player I can be, so I'm just grateful to be here. And I'm grateful to play under Coach Banks and Coach Norvell.
And we also heard from Morrow, who is currently on a 3-game streak of 100-plus rushing yards, and he emphasized how important a winning mentality is and discussed his promise of more scores in the future. Listen in.
Every play is important, and I think everybody needs to dial down, understand that, because once everybody understands that, this team is going to go far. You got to run the ball hard, and we will have more touchdowns in the future. That I promise.
So clearly a lot of positive outlooks coming from every angle, and rightfully so, as CSU did a lot of things right in this one. But now let's get a glimpse at how the schools matched up in the box score. The Rams bested the Rainbow Warriors in more than one major category, finally, throwing for 4 more passing yards and 125 more rushing yards, yes, 125. But the players weren't the only ones being aggressive, as Coach Norvell was feeling the confidence in his guys all game, calling the Rams to go for 6 fourth downs and ending up converting on 3 massive tries. So now the Rams have won 2 of their last 3 and are now set to face a much different opponent, traveling farther into the Northern Rockies up to Boise for a date with the Broncos on Saturday. Boise State is currently undefeated in conference play and 5-2 overall, so yeah, a much harder feat for CSU. We'll just have to wait and see come Saturday if CSU can at least keep it remotely close. But now let's switch gears to women's soccer. Leah, did we finally get a win on Sunday?
Well, Mike, I wish I could say the Rams were able to pull it off, but unfortunately, they fell to the never-ending trend of the season, finishing in a tie. Because of this, CSU will not have a postseason appearance for the first time under Keely Hagan's leadership. Okay, now that I said the quiet part out loud, let's see exactly what caused the draw over the weekend. Colorado State actually got off to a fast start. Just 13 minutes in, Megan Dembski lofted a beautiful pass to open space, where Rams top scorer Liv Layton tracked it down and tapped it past Fresno goalkeeper Valentina Vivas. CSU kept quiet though and eventually paid off for the Bulldogs, as Sierra Wilson fed a sneaky pass to a streaking Saya Cassandra down the middle of the box, who booted it past Rams netminder Maddie Ogden. The score would stay that way until the 72nd minute when weather conditions halted play. And to the disappointment of many, the refs ended up calling the match as a result, producing a final of 1-1. As we look at the team figures, both had the same amount of shots on goal, and fouls are pretty even too, proving the back and forth competitiveness throughout. But the bottom line is Fresno State, who sits at dead last in the league, mind you, knew it needed to come in with fire, and the green and gold just couldn't reciprocate that intensity. While the Rams have had a hard-fought season, their inability to close out games is the main reason they will be absent during playoff time. And yes, defense is extremely strong in the Mountain West, making goals really hard to come by. But the Rams offense never found a way to break through. It's the underlying reason for why they set a new school record with the most draws in a season, totaling 8. Nevertheless, let's view how the standings currently hold, even without a CSU Mountain West bid. The New Mexico Lobos lead the pack, and though they have plenty of ties, would you look at that? 5 wins compared to CSU's 1 actually makes a difference. San Diego State isn't too far behind, same amount of wins, but a couple of added losses. Now, credit is where credit's due, and keep in mind that the Rams actually defeated the Aztecs earlier in the year for their lone conference dub of the season. And they also hung in with the Lobos, yielding a draw, of course. Anyway, it'll be exciting to see who takes the hardware home, as the top 4 schools are neck and neck. Heck, even Boise State, Colorado College, and Utah State are in the hunt. Overall, the Rams have had quite the competitive season, and it stinks to know they only have 1 match remaining of their 2022 campaign. But it should be an exciting one as they welcome the Cowboys for the yearly Border War for Senior Night. I'm hoping the Green and Gold will be able to conclude the season on a high note. Nothing feels better than a Wyoming win. That's enough about soccer. Mike, how did Coach Hilbert and company fare on the court this weekend?
Thanks, Leah. Rams volleyball had 2 matches in the past 5 days, first hosting Boise State on Thursday, and well, the Broncos settled themselves into the road environment rather comfortably, beating the Rams 3-1. However, CSU wasn't too far behind as the margin of victory in all 4 sets never surpassed 5 points. But whenever something went wrong for the Rams, the Broncos seemed to always exploit it. Other than the second set, the Rams just couldn't muster enough to reach that 25-point benchmark. That said, they still had some great individual performances from players like Sierra Pritchard, who dealt out some really nice sets, ending the night with 43 assists. Or Nahima Weathers, who was our biggest presence at the net, finishing it with game highs of 13 kills and 6 blocks. So the Rams did unfortunately suffer a loss, but it did not ruin their spirits as Jackie Van Liefde and Nahima Weathers both had different and unique perspectives on why a positive mind prevailed.
We have a legacy of winning, and every time we go into a match like this, it's always tough, but we always come out on the other side better and smarter, and it makes us stronger as a team and more connected. So hopefully we learn from this and we go forward even stronger.
I think there's a lot to learn from a loss like this. It exposes some of our areas that we need to work a lot more on. So I think, we've been working on blocking. We need to continue to get better on blocking.
Agreed, losing doesn't always have to be bad. Everything can be approached as a learning opportunity, and boy did it help because after Saturday's match in Logan against Utah State, their heads were held much higher as they left the court. In this one, the Rams looked like a completely different team when it came to the end of these sets compared to Thursday's loss to Boise, as their hitting, setting, and communication were all evidently different. But the Aggies did put up a good effort, only losing sets 1 and 4 by a mere 2 points. However, they just kept beating themselves when it mattered, whereas the Rams capitalized in crunch time and pulled out 3 great sets to steal the win. As a team, CSU was completely dominant, winning in almost every category that matters. And even though the Aggies were hot on the Rams' tail in just about every one, Colorado State was able to record an additional kill, 3 more assists, and 2 more aces. And what's most important of all, 3 more points. But now we could talk about CSU's past outcomes for hours, but now let's shift over to the overall competition that stands in the way of a potential first-place Mountain West crown. We see UNLV overtaking the top spot after a huge win over the team right behind them, San Jose State, last week. And then we see our Rams deadlocked with the Spartans. And as we move down, we see their records drop off a little bit, with Wyoming sitting in 6th at 500. So CSU can definitely climb to number 1 if wins keep coming and some other teams help to effectuate some key UNLV and San Jose losses. But that journey continues apace this week, and Moby Arena will see it all. San Diego State on Thursday and Fresno State on Saturday. Stay connected with us here at CTV every Tuesday as we continue covering CSU's race to the mountain peak. But now let's go a few grades down and check in with the local high school football scene. Leah?
Thanks, Mike. Well, I can tell you one thing. It's coming down to the wire with so much at stake, including the league title. If you've been following us here on CTV this semester, you've probably picked up that Fossil Ridge is pretty good. A veteran, well-established quarterback, combined with playmaker at running back, and so many weapons on the outside have made the SaberCat offense elite. And the defense has been strong too, only allowing 21 or more points twice this season. These components have justifiably resulted in Fossil Ridge dominating league play and remaining tied for the number 1 spot. However, if there ever was a concern, it was that the competition has been lacking as of late. From this list, the only teams Fossil has played are Fort Collins, Boulder, and Rocky Mountain, which means the SaberCats have yet to face Fairview or Poudre. But with only 2 weeks remaining, that would soon change. And last Friday, Fossil Ridge finally got to battle the school right at its heels, Fairview, traveling to Boulder for a marquee matchup that would determine the league's fate and show who's really the best. Unfortunately for the SaberCats, it was the Knights that prevailed in pretty convincing fashion. Whether it was a spread look or a bunch run formation, Fairview's wide playbook caught Fossil off guard. The Knights stormed down the field rather easily, tiring the SaberCats defense and, most importantly, keeping Kubat and the Fossil offense off the field. The highly anticipated affair was never really super competitive, and to the dissatisfaction of Fossil fans, it saw the Knights claim the league title as rightfully theirs. Fairview's 42-26 victory highlighted a busy Week 9 scoreboard. Although the other 2 showings weren't really close, Boulder and Fort Collins both got blown out. The Lambskins 41-15 to Poudre, and the Panthers 42-3 to crosstown rivals Rocky Mountain. Not surprising, yes, but it goes to show just how much separation there is between the top 3, Rocky, and the bottom 2. And speaking of those top 3, the playoffs are looming just 2 weeks out. Here's what's on the line heading into the final state of the regular season matchups. Fairview, Fossil Ridge, and Poudre are all in. The Knights are the most definite, currently retaining the highest seed at 11. The SaberCats following at 14, and Poudre rounds it out at 18. What's interesting is that Rocky is also in the mix at 21. 24 teams get in, with the top 8 receiving a bye. In the first round, seeds 9 through 16 will host, so if the current rankings hold, both Fairview and Fossil Ridge would play at their home fields. Regardless of the result, the placement of Fossil and Poudre after Friday shouldn't change the seeding significantly, but it would definitely be a confidence booster for either squad. For Rocky, an upset win over Fairview on Thursday would certainly lock them in. When we come back, Ruby Kaiser will replace us on desk to give you all the updates you need for cross country and women's golf.
Plus, did you know we have a logging team? Yes, I mean like an actual team dedicated to chopping down wood. Hear more about this interesting club from our very own Ella Fredgerson after the break.